Hey guys, John Soda here back again to do another movie review, and today we'll be reviewing The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, The Amazing Spider-Man is directed by Mark Webb and features Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Dennis Leary, Riz Evans, and Sally Field. So, I'm not going to get into the plot to this movie right now, because I just feel like I take a while to get to the plot, and my phone doesn't really have much storage right now. So I'm just going to get right into my thoughts of the movie. So, do I like The Amazing Spider-Man? Yeah, I like it, but it's definitely one of the weaker Spider-Man movies, though, because this movie is, like, it's good, but it's not the best, though. I mean, it's solid. It's solid. I would give it that. It's a very solid movie, so, yeah. Let's get on to the characters of this movie. So, first off, we start off with Peter Parker. Now, Peter Parker, he's good in this movie, but he's absolutely nowhere near as good as in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans. Because in those movies, he was amazing. But here, he's not amazing. He's just good. So, yeah, but I like his whole story, like how he's a loser. His parents left him when he was 6 years old. He always gets bullied. People don't really notice him at school. He's a photographer, and he has a huge crush on this girl, Gwen Stacy. Let me think. Any other stuff I should say about him? But he's cool though. I mean, I like that whole subplot where he finds his dad's paperwork, like his old paperwork, and then he wants to find out like why his dad left him and all of that. So he goes to Oscorp, and from there, as you guys may know, he gets the spider bite. Oh, if you guys haven't seen this movie, I will get into some pretty major spoilers. So please leave this review if you haven't seen this movie, because I'm pretty sure not many people have seen this movie. So yeah, so spoiler alert. Anything else I was gonna say about the Amazing Spider-Man? Oh yeah, so about Peter, he gets bit by the spider, and then he's trying to find out like why his father left him, and he even talks to Dr. Connors about, like, he's trying to talk to him about it because he was his partner. Let me think. Anything else I should say about Peter? And then there's this whole love story with him and Gwen Stacy. To be honest, I'm not really into that love story because it's just kind of weird to me. I mean, they do make a good couple. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm just not really interested in their relationship though, because literally the only reason Gwen Stacy is in here to be in this movie is to just be another love relationship for Peter to have, so this movie won't be totally bland. So yeah, that's basically all she's there for, because she doesn't really have a character at all. Like that's basically all she's there for. I mean, the only reasonable thing she does is just makes the antidote at the end. So yeah. What else about Gwen Stacy? About Peter. And then I like that whole subplot where he's trying to find his uncle's killer too. He's trying to find the Caucasian guy with the long blonde hair with this tattoo on his left hand. Let me think. Anything else I should say about Peter? So yeah, and then all the scenes with him being Spider-Man, I thought was really cool actually. Like all the scenes where he's Spider-Man, he's in action was really cool. Let me think. Like the scene where he saves the kid in the bridge was really cool, and then I loved that little montage too, where he's swinging in the city, but it's in first person view, and then he stops it at the building, and then you see his reflection on the window. That whole little montage was really cool. Anything else I should say about him? But the thing is, there is one flaw I have with that, like with Spider-Man, like not just Peter Parker, but Spider-Man is. His suit is not the best looking actually. Like it's not the worst looking suit either, but yeah, to be honest, it's definitely the worst live action suit we've had actually, cuz I'm just looking back at all the other Spider-Man suits. Like all the other ones are awesome, but this one is very eh. So yeah, but it looks okay, but the thing I don't like about it is it looks just like a basketball. Like it literally just looks like a basketball. So yeah, they could have done a way better job with this suit in this movie. Anything else I should say? But I like all the scenes where he's in action too, like when he fights the lizard. Like all those scenes are really cool. Like when he fights him in the bridge, he fights him in the sewer, and then I love that scene in the school where he fights him in the school. That whole scene was awesome. And then I really like the end battle too. Let me see. Anything else I say about Peter? I think that's it about Peter. So yeah, he was good, but the thing is, he's definitely the weakest live action Spider-Man we've had. Cause like I'm looking back at Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland, they're fabulous as Spider-Man, but this one, he's just good. I mean, he's just good as Spider-Man, but he's not fabulous though, you know? Anything else I should say? Okay, let's get on to the character of, so Gwen Stacy, like I said, wasn't really into the relationship. She wasn't really needed. And then, her father in the movie, I didn't like his father at all. Like, I just thought he was very much of a douche, and he wasn't. I didn't like that whole subplot where, like, he's the captain of the cops, and and all the cops are turning against Spider-Man because he's a vigilante. That whole subplot, I just was super bored. I was super bored with that subplot, and I did not like it. And then we get on to the character of Lizard. Lizard, I thought was really cool in this movie. Actually, I actually really dig the Lizard because he looks really cool. Like, the way they made him look was actually really cool, and all the scenes with him in action was cool. And I like that whole plot point with Dr. Connors, how he lost half of his arm and he's been trying to grow it back for so long, and he uses this lizard DNA, but the lizard DNA never works. But Peter gives Dr. Connors like the finishing touch to the lizard DNA, because he gives him his father's old paperwork, because that paperwork like showed like a code to the cross species genetics, and then that's what makes him finish the lizard serum, and then that makes his arm grow, and then turns him into a lizard. So yeah. I like that whole little like what is it called? That whole little theme, how the hero creates the villain. So I really like that a lot. How basically the hero of the movie created the villain. So I thought that was cool. Anything else I should say? Let me think. Anything else I should say? But there is one major flaw I have with the Lizard. Actually, two major flaws. Because one being that there are a lot of scenes where he's talking, he's like hearing voices in his head and he's just going crazy. But I just feel like those scenes literally just rip off the first Spider-Man, where Green Goblin's hearing voices in his head and he's going crazy. So I just thought they basically ripped him off. And then another flaw to him is his plan. I didn't really like his plan, to be honest, because his plan was to turn everyone in New York into giant lizards. So I just thought that whole plan was super weird. Like, they could have gone with a way better plan for the Lizard. But yeah, I wasn't interested in that plan. And then there's this whole scene where he turns like these cops into lizards with this like little smoke. But you don't even see what happens to them. Like, did they turn into giant lizards or did they die? Like, you didn't even, like, it's just kind of confusing. So yeah. Let me think. But I do really like how Lizard lives in the sewers. I thought that was super creative, how you have the lizard live in the sewers, because that's basically where most lizards live. That it's just the tunnels in the sewers. And so yeah, I thought that was really creative. And then I love that scene a lot where Peters makes webs in the tunnels so he can know when lizards coming, and then he sees like this whole line of lizards like going to this tunnel, and so he thinks that'll lead him to the lizard, but then behind him the lizard jumps at him. So yeah, that whole scene was really cool. Let me think. Anything else I should say about Lizard? Oh yeah, and I like those little scenes where Dr. Connors puts on the serum, and then you see how much he turns, like how like his body's breaking and he's morphing into the lizards. Those scenes were cool. Let me think. So yeah, like I said, the whole high school scene was very dope. Like when they're in the hallways, and then let me think. And then they even fight in the library, and Stanley makes a cameo. I thought that whole scene was really funny. How he was hearing music, but he didn't even hear the fight behind him. So yeah, Lizard was a good villain. And then we get on to Aunt May. Aunt May was good in this movie. But I like the old Aunt May better. But I like that whole thing where every night Peter Parker always comes home looking beat up because he's always fighting crime, and so she keeps thinking that people are beating him up, so she was really worried for him. So I really like that a lot, how Aunt May's worried for him a lot. Okay, so let's get on to flaws with this movie. Like, the main flaws I have with this movie is there are a lot of plot points in this movie that literally vanish, because that whole plot point where Peter's trying to find his uncle's killer literally vanishes. Like, he's looking for his killer, but then like he doesn't even stop to do it again in the movie. So Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird how that whole subplot just vanished. And then there's another subplot that vanished with this character with Dr. Dr. Connors' co-worker, the Indian dude. I forgot his name though, but like there's a scene, there's like a sequence where he's telling Lizard to like hurry up with the DNA because Norman Osborn's gonna die, and then Lizard was trying to like attack him in the bridge, but then he left, and we never saw what happened to him after that. We never ever like saw or heard from the character ever again. So I thought that was just very weird too. Let me think. Anything else I should say? But I like that whole plot point where it explains what happens to Peter's parents, so how that they ran away because they made this code and they didn't want anyone knowing about the code because then they would turn into giant lizards. So yeah, so that's a good reason why you would run away. And then he died in the plane crash. Let me think. Anything else I should say about this movie? So would you rate this movie? I'll rate this movie a B plus. Yeah, it's solid. But let me think if there's anything else I should say. So the soundtrack to this movie I thought was good. It was a very heroic soundtrack actually. Like I really liked listening to that soundtrack. That little song was really cool. That little Spider-Man song. Anything else I should say? So effects, yeah, they were great. Effects were good. Anything else I should say? About this movie. Oh yeah, and I like that little scene where Peter in the basketball field where Peter is taking the ball away from Flash and he's like take it, but then he moves it in his hand and then he's holding on to it really hard. That scene was really funny. Anything else I just say? Anything else I say about this movie? Yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, I'll just sign off the review. Bye, and see you all in the next review.